The old wooden door opens. The village's long-hidden secret. The secret of the village that had been hidden for years would finally be revealed. Amy was instructed by her father. Reaching out, she took one step inside the house. Suddenly she touched the monster that had frightened the whole village. Amy screamed in fear and backed away. Her father stepped forward and held her in his arms, whispering to her that it was all a lie. The so-called red man-eating monster. The village chief and elders were pretending to be the red monster. The purpose was to instill fear in the villagers, to break their desire to leave the forest, to stay in this utopian town forever. It turns out that a long time ago, the members of the village council had all been hurt by the outside world. They were separated from their wives, or suffered injustice. They were all disillusioned with the outside world. So the village chief led them deep into the forest, to live a life of seclusion, to build a good and kind community. They made a pact with each other, no matter what happened, never to set foot outside the forest, in order to have a valid reason to fool people. They made up the fact that monsters existed in the forest, to keep the youngsters in check. And now, looking at his daughter's anxiety to save her beloved, the father decided to make an exception for her, to show her the way out of the forest. He told her that she must return immediately after taking the medicine. She must not reveal the village's affairs to anyone outside. Amy was walking with determination out of the forest. Suddenly she stepped off and almost fell into a pit, but she was quick to grab a nearby branch. It took all her strength to climb up. She didn't care that she was covered in mud. She kept her head down and sprinted as hard as she could. Suddenly the sound of a monster hissed behind her. Amy was surprised that the monsters were all human. How could there be monsters behind her? She ran on without a second thought. Suddenly she felt a sharp branch in front of her, so she opened her arms wide. She waited for the monster behind her to lunge. She dodged it with one hand. That's how she escaped. At the same time, Jack's parents opened the door. They found that their son and the monster clothes were gone. It turns out, the monster that just chased Amy was Jack's impersonation. Not caring much, Amy continued on her way. She soon came to a fence. She had to climb over the fence with great difficulty. Just as the forest ranger drove by, Amy rushed to give him the list of medication she had and the money. She asks him to help her buy the medicine. Looking at Amy in a state of distress, the ranger is puzzled. He thought, where did this wild woman come from? He was about to ask more questions. Amy remembered her father's advice. She didn't talk about it. Luckily, the big-hearted ranger didn't care. He returned to the base. He stole the medicine Amy needed and got an escalator to help her get home. In the end, Amy was able to bring back the medicine, and Tom was finally saved from his sick bed. I thought the elders would take the opportunity to reveal the village's secrets to the public. Instead, they planned to keep it a secret. Jack's death was disguised as an attack by a monster, and the legend of the terrifying creature will be passed on to the rest of the world.